Hey everyone, welcome to another video. In this video I'm finally gonna be truly testing Moira cosmetics. I bought some things, I got like a little bit of everything, and I'm gonna be seeing if this brand is actually worth the hype. So let's get into it. So I've been kind of trying Moira like a little bit. I got a cream bronzer and a loose powder like a few months ago, but now I got all new things and I just really want to see what this is about. Let's start with the eyeshadow palette that I got. This is the Endless Moonlight Celestial Series palette, and when I ordered this, I did not realize how cute this packaging and theme was gonna be. I do have to say it's pretty bulky, but it's still in a way a pretty small palette. I wouldn't travel with it, but the packaging is really cute. I really just like the look and vibe of this. It's a little bit nostalgic almost. It makes me feel a little bit like this theming and the color story and the types of eyeshadows that are in here kind of make me feel like this is in like the 2015 era of makeup, pre-Kylie Jenner, pre-everything exploding and so many brands being released and everything going crazy for makeup. Like just a little bit before that, a little bit more traditional almost. This makes me feel like that. But this is a very cool tone palette. We have really nice swatching mattes in here. The shimmers, there's a little bit of a difference in texture there. Some are a little bit more shimmery, some are a little bit more satin. I'm gonna see if I like them because I usually do like a little bit more of a like special shimmer, so I don't know if this is gonna be a little bit too traditional for me, but we're gonna see. And I am thinking I kind of do want to do a little bit more of a cool tone, smoky look with this. So I think I'm gonna start out with the shade Beauty over here. By the way, these have such cute imprints. I do really like what they did with this palette, but we're gonna see if it's worth it because this palette is like 20 euros, so it's still like, if you don't like it, it's still like to the expensive side, even though you get a lot of shades for that 20 euros. By the way, I'm already wearing an eye primer. Okay, this shade is very gray. I wasn't expecting it to be this gray because in the pan it looks a bit more of a like almost lilac-y taupe, but it's definitely gray. A really nice shade of gray, I have to say. I feel like some grays are a little harsh on me, but I think this one is quite a nice one. It blends easily, it applies easily, no issues there. That's a really nice gray shade. By the way, I will zoom you in just a little bit. So this is looking really nice. Not exactly what I was expecting, but it's looking nice. Okay, what else? What next? I am gonna go into the shade called Flashy, this shade over here. I think this is also gonna pull pretty gray. So just seeing how we're gonna deepen up this look. This just makes me think a lot of like Naked 2. The Naked 2 eyeshadow palette used to be my favorite eyeshadow palette back in high school, and there was this taupey purpley shade that I would just wear all day every day. It was my favorite. I don't feel like a shade like that is in here, but this palette just kind of makes me think of like it's a mix of Naked 1 and Naked 2. Okay, it's definitely deeper, but it's nothing like crazy smoky. But I personally don't like crazy smoky most of the time, so I'm happy with where we're at. Okay, let's see. I think I want to go one step further, see if we can deepen this up a little more with this shade, which is called Secretive. Just with the same brush. Okay, this is deepening it up a bit more. I feel like these grays aren't too like ashy gray or harsh, but of course that's only on my skin tone. I don't think this would look like this on anyone or everyone. Okay, I really like the matte situation. I'm gonna see, I want to blend a little more, blend it all together a bit. So far I really like these mattes. I think I'm gonna apply shimmer and then we'll see if I want to add anything else to the look. I'm gonna take the shade Moonlight because this is one of the more like shimmery shades, at least in the swatch. Of course, it's not gonna tell us if all the other shades are gonna be like this. I know they're not gonna be like this because they swatch differently, but this is a really, really pretty shimmer. That's really nice. That has a really nice kind of blue gray, steel gray effect to it, and I really like the shade. Okay, we need another shimmer. And now I'm gonna take, what should I do? We only have one kind of light shimmer, this one, but that did swatch the most satin of all the shades, but I think I'm gonna try that one because we also need to know if something isn't good. Like, it swatches not super crazy impressive, but that is kind of cute. I think that does have a place in the collection. It's just a very traditional shimmer. Just very standard. I feel like I don't wear a lot of traditional shimmers anymore, or I call them traditional, but I don't really encounter them anywhere because I wear a lot of indie makeup. By the way, is Moira an indie brand? I think so. I would expect so. But I don't wear a lot of these more traditional shimmers, but you know what? It looks cute. It's nothing where I'm gonna be like yelling, screaming off the rooftops how much I love that shimmer. But it is not bad quality. It's just a matter of taste. Okay, I think for the lower lash line, I wanna keep it a little more neutral. So I'm gonna go into the shade called Diva over here. It is still a cool tone shade, but not as gray. It's a nice shade. Subtle, but it's more of a transition shade. I'm gonna go into the shade Focus over here. And I'm focusing that a little more on the outer part of the lower lash line. I feel like this pulls more cool tone even than I thought it would in the swatch. Everything pulls quite smoky. So don't expect this to be something else. It is a quite smoky neutral palette. I think now I want to put the shade Only One. This looks also a little bit more on the shimmery side. I want to put that on the lower lash line as well. And just gonna see if that sticks. That always tells me a lot about what kind of shimmer something is, because some shimmers, they do stick to the top like the eyelid, but they don't stick to the lower lash line. I think that kind of sticks, but it's not like overwhelmingly amazing. But that could be resolved with a little bit of a spritz, with a little bit of glitter glue. I do think that even though not all of these shimmers look crazy, they are very flattering, and I do like where this look is going. I'm gonna take a little bit of a combination of the shade Focus and the shade Secretive, and I'm gonna use it as kind of like a shadow liner. Now that I applied on top of the like bluish gray, I do see the contrast that it's pulling a little bit more brown. The shadows that I'm using. Just adding a little bit of definition and depth. If you would want to make this look even more smoky, you could use a black, but I don't use black eyeshadow ever. Okay, the only thing this look is missing is a inner corner highlight, and I have to say this palette doesn't really have it. We don't really have a lighter shimmer in here. I'm just gonna take Sugar Love and put that in my inner corner as kind of like a matte inner corner highlight, but we're gonna see if I like it, if it's pigmented enough. If a matte inner corner isn't pigmented enough, okay, that is definitely pigmented enough. If a matte inner corner isn't pigmented enough, I just feel like it looks too weak and it just doesn't give any impact. Like, I feel like a shiny inner corner, you can get away with something a little bit more satin, a little bit more soft. But if you apply a matte inner corner without any pigment, it just looks weak and powdery, in my opinion. Of course, do whatever you want. It's just what I have thought of for myself. Okay, I'm gonna clean up under my eyes. I'm gonna put on some mascara and then we can move on to the next products. Alright, so my eyes are done and they are smoky. They are cool toned. Like, this is a very cool toned palette. I am feeling like my lips are a little dry, so we're gonna move on to a lip oil. This is the Glow Getter Hydrating Lip Oil in the shade 12 Only Smooches. And when I swatched this looked very, very pigmented, more so like a cream liquid lipstick than like a lip oil. So I was hoping this was gonna be a little bit less pigmented, but we're just gonna like go with it. I'm just gonna apply it. The doe foot is on the smaller side. The shade though I really love is leaning very purpley lilac nude. Okay, I feel like you can apply this a little less thick and pigmented. I think you can make this work. Okay, this is giving 2012. Clubbing 2012, but the lip feels really comfortable. I really like the shade of it. I personally wouldn't combine it with this eye look because I feel like this is a little too much cool toned, and I feel like sometimes that can look a little too much, a little dated almost on me. I like pairing something like this with an eye look that's a little fresher, but it feels really nice. Okay, we're gonna move on to the bronzer and highlighter duo that I got. This is the Moira Sculpt and Glow Duo Stick in 200. Let's beach it up. And on the one side we have this champagne highlighter stick, and on the other side we have this bronzer contour stick. Usually though with these kinds of products I do feel like I like one side more than the other, so we're gonna see. I don't know, by the way, if I'm gonna be using this highlighter stick today, or maybe I won't use it on my cheeks but I will use it on my forehead. We're just gonna start out with the bronzer and I'm just gonna be applying it to my cheeks. It does look very warm. And that was also the problem that I had with the cream bronzer that I bought from Moira that also looked very warm on me. Like, I know a lot of people love a warm bronzer, but it was not my shade, even though I really liked the formula. It just has something a little yellowy to it. I do feel like this shade is better than the cream bronzer in the pot. I don't remember the name of that product. I feel like this is a shade that I could make work with the right makeup. But now with this super cool tone makeup, it just looks a little too yellowy. Oh, I'm kind of sad about that. I was hoping that this was going to be more like a contour because I really like contour shades for my bronzer. I feel like that looks better on me than a super warm bronzer like this. I was hoping for that, but now I don't know if this is gonna be it. But we're just going with it. We're just doing this because who knows what it will look like when I've done the rest of my makeup. Sometimes things start looking better once you have applied other products as well. I do like how this blends. I think it's a pretty easy product to apply. Don't have any issues with that. So I would say if this is your shade, it is really nice. At least so far. It is really like this cream, like skin-like finish. It doesn't have any shine to it. But I wouldn't expect that with a contour. But I also wouldn't expect such a yellowy undertone with a contour like this. But yeah, if you have a warm undertone in your skin, then this might be your shade. Alright, let's move on to the blush that I bought. This is the Loveheat Cream Blush in 09 I Have You. This is more of a kind of like soft pinky shade, leaning a little bit red, but a pretty cool tone shade. I quite like the look of this. It swatched pretty nicely, like not too pigmented. I was a little scared when I first saw the shade. I'm dipping in once and let's see. Okay, that is pretty pigmented. Let's see if I can blend this out, if I can still save the situation. That is really nice, but I took way too much. But it looks really nice on the skin. Okay. I'm gonna apply to the other side as well and then take a clean brush to kind of blend. Okay, now I took less. You just shouldn't take too much. It's a bit of a darker shade, but when I swatched it, I thought, well, you know, I think that's gonna work. And it is gonna work. I just still took too much. I like it. I like it a lot. But I just look crazy. But I can tell that it's a nice formula. I just look crazy. Okay, how are we gonna fix this? Okay, I'm just taking a bigger brush and going over, blending it in. I really like the creamy finish that this has. It looks really nice on the skin. Just a really nice finish. I'm just blending out the edges a bit with a smaller brush. And I feel like now, by the way, I adjusted my light a little bit. I felt like it was a little too soft on this side. Now you can see this cheek better. But I feel like this finish is really nice. It doesn't feel sticky, but it's also not like a cream to powder. But it doesn't feel sticky on my skin. It is winter though, and I have drier skin in winter. So I don't think that a lot of products would feel like that on my skin this time of year. But really like that. I think I'm gonna apply a little bit of this highlighter to my forehead because I have another highlighter that I want to use on the cheeks, and I would want to try it on its own. This does look really promising. Look at that. I haven't blended it, but now you can really see. I like the look of that. Okay, this brush I haven't used in a long time. The Real Technique setting brush, the highlighter brush from the Luna Beauty and Laura Lee collab collection has totally replaced this in my life. Okay, I think, can you see a little bit? I think that this is really nice. I don't see any weird sparkle particles. I think I of course have to try it on my cheeks, but so far so good. And now let's move on to the highlighter I really want to try. This is the Dreamlight highlighter in 05 Love Struck, and this looks so enchanting in the pan. This looks so good in the pan. Just, it looks shimmery, it looks shiny, it looks warm, it has such a nice glow. It makes me think of like this summer glow, and I just really want to try this out on my cheeks. So we're just gonna go in. I am gonna take my favorite highlighter brush for this. Just gonna take a little bit on my brush. It looks a little glittery, but it also looks a bit like it is a baked highlighter. So we're gonna see. Oh, wow, that is absolutely stunning. That is, I hope you can see how beautiful this is. I'm gonna apply a little more, so hopefully you can see, but that is beaming, but without being beaming. It's beaming, but it still looks natural. It brings so much light to your face, but it still looks like skin. It is totally the shade of this that is so beautiful, and I don't feel like this looks glittery on the cheeks. Wow, that is gorgeous. That is really nice. Okay, so without, with, I don't know if I can really convey this to you in a way that I would want via camera, because it is just so nice. That is such a nice shade. Okay, if you love the shade of the Nala Skin Glazing in Privilege, this is your highlighter, because it has that same vibe, you know? It has that same kind of like pinky peach to it, and it also looks really nice on the cheeks. I do feel like my eyes feel a little irritated, but I've been dealing, I feel, with some allergies again for my cat. Still not completely over that apparently, so I'm not gonna blame it on the eyeshadow too soon. But if I am trying this on a day that I don't have any like eye irritation, I'm gonna pay attention if this does anything to me. Alright, I really like the cheeks. The bronzer is still not my favorite shade, but I feel like it doesn't look as apparent anymore at this point. I don't think you can see how beautiful this highlighter is. I'm gonna try and show you. I think this cheek is the best cheek to show you. It is just really nice. The color is just really nice, but it's not too colorful that I get like a weird stripe. Alright, I'm gonna move on to the next thing. What else do we have? I think the last thing that I want to try is this lip liner and this lipstick. So this lip liner is the Lip Appeal waterproof lip liner in 004 Afterparty. This is kind of like a nudish brown lip liner. It seems to be kind of like this sharpenable one, but it does have kind of like a plasticky packaging, so I'm gonna see how that's gonna work. Okay, we have the sharpener on the back. If you didn't know, a lot of these types of pencils do have a sharpener on the back. So I'm gonna be taking off the lip oil that I have on right now, and then I'm gonna be putting on the lip liner. All right, let's put it on. I was not expecting this to be so close to my lip color. It's very, very similar to my lip color. Now it's a bit hard to tell like how pigmented this actually is, because it's basically the same thing. I can just like tidy up my lip line a little bit with this. It can come in handy though to have something so close to your lip color. It's a little stiff. It feels a little stiff. It's not super creamy. I do like a lip liner that's a little bit in between creamy and stiff, because then it is more precise and it lasts longer. I have to see. I have to try this out again. I have to see how this wears to see how much I actually like this, because I do like the precision, but and I do like the way it looks on my lips. I just don't know yet if this is gonna be my favorite to apply, but it's at least a good lip liner for now. How much I can tell you about it for now. Okay, let's move on to the signature lipstick by Moira. This is in the shade 18 Sweet Cacao. This has a pretty cute like see-through pinky packaging. It does feel like drugstore, but all of this feels more on the drugstore side, but not too cheap. I still quite like the packaging. It doesn't ruin this makeup for me. Like some drugstore brands do that for me, where I feel like the packaging is just too cheap. I don't feel like using it, but this is pretty cute. It doesn't feel super heavy, but it does like feel and look pretty nice. So this is a shiny lipstick, I believe, a pretty like creamy shiny lipstick. And this is a more brown shade. I wanted to pick a shade that was a little like fall vibes, so that is why I went with this one. It's a little bit on the warm side for a brown for me, but we're gonna see how this looks together with the lip liner. Okay, this really glides on. Feels really thin. Feels quite nice. I do feel like with this color, the lip liner is just a little too light. I like something that gives me a little bit more structure. I'm gonna add a little bit of another lip liner to give me the end result that I want. I added a little bit of the Line Loud lip liner by NYX in Global Citizen. I feel like this adds just a little bit more structure. Alright, let's zoom out. Okay, so this is gonna be the finished look. I have to say I'm pretty excited about it. I quite like where this went. I quite like the products that I have tried. I do feel like I have a pretty obvious favorite. I'm pretty impressed, and I feel quite like beautiful, and it doesn't always happen when I've done my makeup. Sometimes I feel a little bit like a mess, but today I feel really beautiful. Alright, let's go over the products real quickly. The eyeshadow palette, I have to say, it is not like multichrome, sparkly shades, crazy things, duochromes, all of the textures, but there's just something about this. I really love the tones. I feel like it looks really flattering on the eyes. The blend of the mattes is really nice. And I feel like I'm kind of excited about this. I know there's something also kind of boring about it, but it is kind of hard to find nowadays a palette like this. This is a type of palette that I used to really love like 5, 6, 7 years ago. I was so into these cool tone palettes with kind of like a mix of textures in the shimmers, but I was fine with it being a little softer and just looking very flattering, and I feel like this gives me that, and I am just pretty excited about the quality. Quality is really nice on this palette so far, so yeah, pretty impressed. Next up, the lip oil. I feel like it's pretty pigmented, but you can sheer it out a bit. It's really comfortable, it's really nice and shiny. I really like the shade that I got. I think I will enjoy wearing this more. I quite like this. Then the duo stick, the Sculpt and Glow. The highlighter I feel is quite promising. The bronzer is a bit warm for me. Of course, I'm gonna try it out more. I do feel like Moira leans very warm in their bronzer products. I would love for them to do some other undertones as well. The highlighter is absolutely stunning. I love how my cheeks look. I feel now that I'm zoomed out a little bit, you can really see how beautiful this is. This is a type of highlighter that I am a big fan of. It just looks so good on the cheeks. I think this might be my favorite of the video. Then the lip liner. I think this is quite a nice one. I have to try it out a little bit more to see if it's gonna be like a favorite. I don't know if it will be. It's a little tuggy, it's a little dry. The signature lipstick, it feels really nice, it looks really flattering. It is a beautiful shade. I think it's really nice. It's not like a gloss in a stick, it is not that glossy, but it's beautiful. I like it, it's flattering. And then the last product that I tried is the blush. I just have to figure out a little bit how much of this I have to use, but I feel like it looks really good on the cheek. It's very flattering. It has this beautiful creamy glow to it. I'm a fan of this one. This is a nice shade. So yeah, overall pretty impressed. I think Moira is a brand that I'm gonna keep my eye on. It's a bit easier for me to get nowadays. I can order it from Boozy Shop. So if you're in like the Netherlands or in Belgium, you can get it from there. Like all of these things I got from there. And then yeah, this is gonna be everything for today's video. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video if you liked it, and don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in my next one. Bye bye.